All right, so welcome to the third piece of our back to school bonanza.
Bonanza Palooza.
And so today we are talking about that shift from college. I mean, your last year of college, and you were looking towards the future of, job, career, entering the workforce, and just the nervousness that comes along with that.
So in our last podcast, we were nervous Nellies about because we were going off to college and all that change and everything like that. Many pizzas later, now we're in the last year of college and graduation and the word adulthood is being whispered across the quad. Adulthood calling. So I watched some of the kids in your class. Now, obviously, you knew you had been interning here and working here part-time. I say here at the studio, our agency, and knew that you were going to transition right into that full-time.
Right.
So that was not a problem for you. But the rest of the people, as we attended that final art display, I could see the terror in these kids' eyes that, okay, one, I need to get a passing grade here to graduate. And then right after they hand me a diploma and I shake their hand, and I toss my cap and gown, now what? The fear, because we all know people that took the wrong career or wrong thing in college and regret taking that. Myself was one of them, or changed halfway and maybe still chose wrong, or graduated, couldn't find a job, on and on, right? So when you were in that last year, you started that last semester, like that summertime, you started that first semester back really on your last year. Talk about what was going through your mind a year from that point.
So yeah, like we said, I mean, I was a very different experience because I could not wait to get out. I was sick and tired of coming back home after 6 hours in the studio to then have 4 hours of homework every night.
Sure.
So
I was too.
Yeah, with all your help, you put your name in the bottom hand corner of my degree or something like that, like a CC on it. But I couldn't wait to get out. I was tired of the art program. It wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, even after I got out my degree in the Bachelor of Fine Arts with a concentration in graphic design, I look at that as a paperweight. It was worthless to me.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah.
After going through this with you and seeing that, you'd come to me and be like, "What are they teaching you?
Oh yeah.
That's not going to fly in today's world. No, let's do this instead."
Yeah. And so that last year, I was definitely I had senioritis highly.
Oh, sure.
And it was just I went out. I can see the finish line. I have fought with so many professors to get here. I've dealt with some crappy ones. I've dealt with some great ones. I'm ready to get out. But I was surrounded by people that, like you said, were terrified. I mean, I knew a guy who graduated in my same degree, same thing, really good designer, and he was still working on the border months later when I ran into him.
That's right.
So, I mean, this is the thing where, the time frames of getting a college degree and it meaning a job in that field, not so certain.
Right. Nothing wrong with working on
No.
the board. It's just that I don't think he went to 4 years of college and said, well, now that I got this diploma, I can finally ask do you want nachos with that too?
Right. So I know that a lot of kids it was a wide range. I mean, no one really was as carefree as I was because I wanted out because I had a job lined up.
I could sense a little bit of the jealousy there, yeah, you have a job. We don't.
Right. I mean, the last couple weeks of my classes, there were interview processes, and I emailed my professor and said, "Hey, I have a job already. Can I opt out?" And he's like, "If you don't feel like the experience could help you," I'm like, "It won't. Goodbye." And so I didn't show up for last 3 weeks of classes. It was fantastic. It was an early Christmas present to myself. But for a lot of those kids, I mean, it was very terrifying. Okay, I have 4 years of this college degree. I have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. I need to start paying that off.
Yeah.
How am I going to handle that transition? Because the same we talk about transition from the home to that first year in college. I mean, there's still a jump from college to being on your own. I mean,
Sure.
there are some things in place in college to kind of keep you running, you know? I mean, mess hall, there's food for you. You can walk up and kind of get out kind of thing. There's roommates that kind of help with chores. When you're out on your own, ain't none of that. You know, you want dinner, you better cook.
The dirty house you leave is a dirty house you walk back to.
Right, exactly. So I know a lot of kids that were just really, really scared of that next step just because of the unknown. Now, there was some people in that were excited about the opportunities that led
Sure.
to, and those people were the more confident ones.
Yeah.
But I know many people that are still struggling with the ramifications of either choosing the wrong degree for where they want to be in life,
Right.
or decisions that maybe they didn't do X, Y, and Z during college. Maybe they didn't get plugged into a church, or maybe they didn't do internships, and that has affected them, and they feel on the outs at the church that they're a part of, or haven't found a church yet, or they can't find that job and that degree. I mean, my wife Heather, she went into college for chemistry, absolutely hated that. Switched to accounting, barely squeaked out with that degree. I should put my name on that degree too. And now she is working at a farm as a physical therapist with horses and special needs children.
Right.
Not even in the same universe. They're not even using numbers over there.
I didn't even know horses went to college.
Right, exactly. So, not that it can't be done. It can be done when you're a good testament to going into school for computer science and walking away and saying that ain't gonna fly, and then walking into graphic design. So there are plenty of stories of self-made
Sure.
men, but it can be terrifying. And so one of the biggest things I think I got a lot of help from was counsel, not from your guidance counselor.
Right.
That person. Maybe yours is great. Person listening. Mine was not good. Mine forgot my name half the time, and other time would look at my previous semester and go, "Who gave you this awful course load?" And I'd be like, "That was you." And they're like, "Oh, shoot."
Did I say awful?
Right. So, but counseling, just counsel on how to take those next steps.
Sure.
Because it's a very delicate time. Because, like I said, if you don't set yourself up for success in college and that first, couple years out on your own, you're gonna really feel it later on.
Yeah, I would, from my dad's point of view, I would start talking to your soon-to-be college graduate about that transition into adulthood. Don't scare them, but talk about, okay, what's coming up. You can come out of college and come right back home, get your feet under you kind of thing, get your job, then find an apartment, move out type thing. You don't have to get your apartment and get out, or get your diploma and get out. But speaking to them about things that are coming down the line for them, that's going to be scary again. That every adult should be dealing with. Not all do effectively, but should be dealing with. They never touch on paying taxes in college.
Cooking meals, none of that.
Cooking meals, cleaning up, chores, that kind of thing. So, since you didn't have that experience of going a job,
interviewing for jobs and applying. And all
I'll
that kind of stuff.
I'll give you mine. I'm not quite sure if I ever told you the story. So, we're back in New Orleans. As many of you know, we're born and raised in New Orleans. I have a '74 Ford pickup. Only thing in it that works is me. No radio, no air, nothing. It's I don't know, had to be August or September in Louisiana. So hot, right? Humid. The windows are down. Again, there's no AC. This is before GPS. There's no I'm going to punch in that address and just go.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask my parents and consult a sextant and where the sun is and figure out where this place is. So, I got a tie on, dress shirt, slacks. I'm going to this appointment, and I'm like, okay, keep cool, TJ. Let's go on for an interview. You're right on time. I make a wrong turn. I think it's going to cost me like 5 minutes to get back around to that thing. I don't know exactly where I'm going. Well, I mean, I just start sweating like a politician being grilled, right? So I'm trying to like defunkify as I walk into this interview. Fortunately, I didn't get the job because I was right out of college. And again, my degree was in computer programming, which my scores, my GPA was great. I mean, it was on dean's list, president's list. Did I come out as great? No, it was horrible. It was horrible. So you may graduate with a degree and not be very good at it. So know that there's going to be some speed bumps along the way, and we all experience them.
Yeah.
Uncommon would like to thank today's sponsor, Wilson Technology Group. At Wilson Technology Group, we're not just an IT vendor. We're your trusted business partner delivering exceptional support, innovative solutions, and peace of mind. One call, one team, all your tech issues resolved. Uncommon would like to thank today's sponsor, Studio 490 Digital Marketing. Elevate your business with Studio 490. Our expert team offers tailored web design, SEO, Google Ads, and social media management. Visit studio490.com because your success story starts today. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Uncommon Man-to-Man podcast, contact us today at uncommon.org. So,
Well, because not everyone's path's the same. Because I know, I was very fortunate to find my wife during college. Actually, it was near the end of my career there.
That's another part.
Yeah.
Not just a job, but some people I'm in my last semester. I've met no one. How am I going to find a wife?
Yeah.
Or a husband?
I was very fortunate to find my wife, but I have many friends who, that was a very big terrifier for them. They're like, I came to college, I was hoping to find my significant other and to walk away being, one step closer to marriage.
Right.
And, many of my friends are still single and have had many tough times trying to find someone. I mean, it's hard out there. And as your pool starts shrinking, we talk about your high school is, pretty big, college even bigger.
Right.
Once you step out those doors with that diploma and hat in hand, your pool shrinks to, well, if you don't go to church, just the people you work with.
Right. And if they're not single or attractive, interesting, open, whatever, I mean, you're like, well, there's no one at work.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we keep harping on on this podcast is finding a church and a group to go to. And you may feel like, oh, I just graduated college, I'm hip with it, I'm good,
I got time.
As you kind of migrate out of that season, you're going to very quickly realize you are an entirely different ball game than people in college. You're going to feel it, and you trying to tack yourself onto a college group at your church ain't gonna fly.
Wait, you mean that there's no summertime break or fall break or spring break or time away like that?
No. Hate to burst your bubble.
Come on, man. That's it. I'm going back to college.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you don't have a church, because in a lot of situations, if you've gone away to a school in a different state and you're coming back, or however you may be handling in that jostling of position, you may need to find a new church.
Right.
And you need to find a church that has, maybe it's like early career in some cases,
college to career.
College to career.
Great.
Yeah. There are plenty of groups out there. You just got to look for them.
Yeah.
And just like we said in the previous one, there's no one to force you to go. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go to these things, because what we've said in the past about being surrounded by unbelievers on a constant basis, if you're not going to church, that is triply so for when you're in the workforce. Because that's kind of where adulthood comes a reckon, and all the things you didn't have to take care of in college now come knocking.
Right.
Taxes,
chores.
Maybe you have a pet, taking care of that. If you have a significant other, handling
Cooking.
that relationship.
Cleaning.
loans.
Loans.
So all these things that you're going to be able, put it this way, if you want to make yourself busy enough to not go to church and not have the time for it, you will find the things to do it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so now we've moved into what we call MITs, Men in Training. And so I've been looking forward to this one. And I love that we've spent the time developing resources for these milestones in guys' lives. And so we have a resource called College to Career. We have resources called First Timers. Because there's going to be you're going to get ready to experience a lot of first times. Mm-hmm. The first time you move into an apartment or a house. First time you get married. Your first child, your first job, your first argument with your spouse, your first holiday, all these first time things that you thought you were done with that because you've gone through college. You're like, okay, finally I'm an adult. I can do what I want. Mm-hmm. Bomb. Wrong. There are responsibilities there as well. At least for healthy, well-rounded adults, there are responsibilities. God put Adam in charge of the garden to work and keep it. That is a command. And so we have that kind of calling. And so we mentioned it in the last episode, but we definitely would highly recommend our masterclass series called Adulthood Calling. It is specifically targeted for this, that transition from college to that first, 4 or 5 years of adulthood, that everything is brand new, and it's a different new than what you've had for the last 2 to 4 years of college. And you're like, I pretty much met my wife in pre-K, with Dana, but over the years, Dana, even going through, adulthood, she's like, I feel like I'm constantly having to learn and change. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you say that like everybody's not doing that. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to do that. And so it can be daunting, overwhelming, and you may be terrified to leave your parents' basement. Unfortunately, your parents are not going to live forever, and you will need to stand on your own 2 feet at some point. We're here to challenge and encourage you to do that successfully to the glory of God.
Yeah, I think that it's good to have encouragement and challenge when it comes to your mentors, because we get very complacent. I'm lazy. Capital L.
Jesus napped, I nap. You know what I'm saying?
So if I don't have someone in my life who's pushing me and checking in on me and making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be as, whether that's a Christian, a man, a husband, a son, an employee, any of that, it's easy to convince ourselves that we are doing okay, but we're not called to be okay.
Nope.
We are called to be the glory of God to those around us. And so that means being that to your workmates.
Sure.
Being that to your roommates, if you have a roommate after college, and going into apartments or whatever. So keeping that light, lit and sparked for God is going to be difficult. And we always say it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult even more so.
It's going to be difficult.
So,
all caps. I
think it's interesting to see this on the other side now that I've been out of college for 5+ years.
Sure.
It feels like the world is ending and you have to start all over again.
Right.
And you just did that with you going to college. And you're going to make mistakes. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I learned.
Sure.
I felt like I was almost paralyzed for trying to be like, I got to hit it right. I got to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn from them.
Yeah, no one's called to be perfect. God never called a perfect person to do his will.
No.
Other than Christ. Moses, David, Paul, Job, Jonah. It goes on and on, right? But if anything should drive the point home, I think here is, okay, you've gone through college, you graduated, you're a young adult kind of thing. You're like, I'm still trying to get my life together kind of thing. And bam, you have a child. That child's going to look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You better be ready.
Yeah.
So if you don't do this for any other reason other than God's called you to do this, know that if you have children, you have a spouse, other people are watching you as well and need you to lead them.
Yeah.
And that's why we're specifically talking to men right now. And so, this back to school segment was going to be a lot more challenging. If you haven't heard the previous two, the first one was for the dad's perspective of empty nest. The second one was for that young man, or even young woman, just graduating high school, going into college, leaving the nest, so to speak, and then now this one with, well, now I'm graduating and moving into adulthood. Now what? So.
Yeah, and so as we kind of wrap this up here and we talk about a myriad of resources that we have on the website, if you are confused at what you kind of need or maybe some next steps or some advice, feel free to email us and reach out. We are more than happy to, tell you where to go from here if you're needing assistance or don't have a support system in place.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave you with this. If you're going to be something, be uncommon.
Amen.